A very good morning to you, Nigerians. Good morning to you, Lagosians. I am Oyinpriye Krumale, and this is On Record, where every word matters. But before we go into the program On Record to discuss the business of the day, there is a very pertinent issue that needs to be addressed, and it's about the Naira swap policy that is currently on the public domain, where both the government and the Central Bank of Nigeria and other stakeholders within Nigeria are discussing this issue. As a radio station, as an individual, as journalist, our conversation with the public every day and now has shown us that the government had made this policy, and the federal government, the last time the Supreme Court gave a mandate that this particular policy should be extended, even though the government went to appeal that case, and they are due to sit on the 15th of February, which will be tomorrow. There's a general expectation that the status quo should be maintained. But even before then, the CBN, as the regulatory authority, has said that on the 10th of this month, February, the old Naira notes cease to become legal tender, even though this particular case is for which the reason the Supreme Court gave a mandate, and that on the 17th of this month is the space of time that Nigerians will have not to practically spend the old Naira notes, but to take it to the banks, to deposit into the banks. But we have been receiving messages and calls from Nigerians that when they take these old Naira notes to the banks are rejecting these notes. And the instruction coming from the banks is that Nigerians should take these notes straight to CBN. I think that's a very, very irresponsible statement coming from Nigerian banks. And if the Central Bank of Nigeria, as a regulatory authority that has been saddled with the power constitutionally to regulate financial institutions in this country, gave out that order, and the banks on their own are making their own order, I think the government, the federal government and the Central Bank of Nigeria will need to put their foot on the ground to make sure that commercial banks stick to the laws. Because Nigerians do not have an account with the Central Banks of Nigeria. They have accounts with the commercial banks. And the commercial banks are to make sure that they obey those regulatory authorities, which is the CBN, and the mandates and the regulations that the CBN has dished out. These complaints we're getting from Nigerians, the government need to pay attention and to make sure that this is addressed. Because if not, it seems that the commercial banks are making a law on their own. Thank you very much. Now that's just by the wayside. Let's jump into the business of the day. It's On Record, where every word matters. Let's move on to discuss the main issue. Senatorial zones in Nigeria are typically made up of a group of local government areas, in particular the state, and are represented by senators at the National House of Assembly. The legislative arm of government, or better put, the National Assembly, is the bastion of democracy, just as election is also the most important aspect of a democracy. 10 days from tomorrow, or from now, Nigerians will be deciding the stake of their presidential and National Assembly candidates who will be declared the winner of the election is determined by the highest number of votes. Once again, my name is Oyinpriye Krumale. This is On Record, where every word matters. On Record, we discuss the actions, the inactions of government, ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as business and health affairs that shape our worldview. The program also encapsulates personalities, institutions that make decisions that affect the lives of people one way or the other. And then we also avail you, our listeners, to call into the program and ask our guests any question concerning our topic of discussion.
On Record.
Every word matters.
Now, members of the National Assembly are elected representatives saddled with the main responsibility of formulating laws for good governance and transparency. Most especially, laws have a direct impact on the physical infrastructure, economy, and commerce. security and safety, and other responsibilities of public officials to bring the presence of government to the dividend of democracy to bear on the lives of its constituents, on behalf of whom they legislate and propose and promote laws for good. This is a simple definition of representative democracy. Joining us today is one of the candidates vying for the Lagos State Central Senatorial District. The district is the core of Lagos State and a highly urbanized division comprising 5 local governments: Apapa, Etiosa, Lagos Island, Lagos Mainland, and Surulere local government areas, and 8 local council development agencies. I beg your pardon, development areas. Senator Oluremi Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress is the outgoing senator for the district. According to INEC's final list of the candidates for national elections, the presidential, senatorial, and House of Representatives, it shows that 9 candidates representing their parties will be where would the pendulum swing. My guest today is architect Abiodun Abubakar Dabiri of Labour Party, seeking the Lagos State Central Senatorial District. But before I bring him to the microphone, let's go on a break. And when we return, it's on record where every word matters. Do stay with us.
Welcome to On Record.
Every word matters.
What I want to do is to take Nigeria from consumption to production.
My name is Mr. Innocent Chuboma. I started by trading on motorcycle spare parts.
They really ask, how much is the Nigerian life worth?
Policing is everybody's business, not the business of the men on uniform alone.
We will establish student loan 4 years course. Must be 4 years course.
When you dispense, a pharmacist dispenses a drug to a patient, the name of the drug must be written on the envelope.
On Record is a 45-minute program where we discuss the actions, inactions of government, ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as business and health affairs that shape our worldview.
Join us 9 a.m. every weekday on your urban lifestyle station, High Impact 102.1 FM. On Record.
Every word matters.
The best music, the best people, the best talk on High Impact 102.1 FM. Watimagbo.
On Record.
Every word matters.
Welcome back. It's On Record where every word matters. If you just joined us, we will be having a conversation with our guest today. Is architect Abiodun Abubakar Dabiri of Labour Party, seeking the Lagos State Central Senatorial District. Well, our question to you, our guest today, our listeners, is: do you know the National Assembly candidates vying for positions in your constituencies, or you are only concerned with the presidential elections? Well, if you do know these constituencies, then probably you should call or send a message to 0907-224-5018, and later we'll be opening the phone lines for you to call in, and that number will be 0700-1021-1021. Once again, let me welcome my guest. Our guest is architect Abiodun Abubakar Dabiri of Labour Party, seeking the Lagos State Central Senatorial District. Good morning, Mr. Dabiri, and welcome to On Record.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Thank you very much. Let's talk about your political antecedents. Before you, came up with the interest to vie for the Lagos State Central Senatorial District, which is, if not the biggest senatorial district in Lagos State. What were your political antecedents before now?
Well, 10 years ago, I made the decision to stop talking about Nigeria and do something positive that would actually have an impact. So I don't chat on WhatsApp group, I don't discuss politics, I act. Because actions only are what that will change our country.
Yes.
Talking will not do anything. So I got involved with the Abundant Nigeria Renewal Party, ANRP. I was the state chairman, and I also was the gubernatorial candidate in the 8 years ago in the elections. So unfortunately for us, our party was proscribed by INEC because we didn't win any
local governments,
any elected posts.
But
also the elections hadn't run the full cycle because there were other states that had not,
conducted.
We went to court, we tried to have it done, but it was proscribed. So I moved to the Labour Party because of the ideology, and it had similar. I keyed into what the party was all about. So that's what brought me to the Labour Party.
Okay, well, let's talk about your professional, occupational antecedents that must have made you feel it has given you the capacity and the competence to step forward.
Oh, as an architect, I have worked and trained with some of the biggest architectural companies in Nigeria. I was there for close to 10 years before I set up my own practice. So I've done various projects all over the country. Automobile workshops, showrooms, churches, hotels, private residences. I've done a lot of work over the years. And we've been able to build a very robust client base, and we've maintained our relationship with our clients. So it's been amazing.
Okay. Now, thank you very much, Mr. Dabiri. Now, let's talk about the senatorial district for which you are vying for as a lawmaker. How much information or knowledge do you have about this area?
Well, the course of my life seems to have prepared me for this. I'll tell you why. I'm from Lagos Island, Idumota. My grandfather was the Baba Adini of Lagos. My father was Jagumolu of Lagos. I was born in Luth, Idiaraba, which is Surulere. I grew up in Surulere. I went to Sunfields Primary School. I went to Government College Eric Moore. Then from there, I went to Unilag, which is Lagos mainland, also part of my constituency, so I'm quite familiar with that area. And now I live in Etiosa. I've been living there for the past 6 years. So I have presence in all the constituencies, naturally, not like it was planned, but that's what fate brought me. The only place that I haven't lived in my constituency is Apapa. But Surulere and Apapa are side by side, so we used to cross to Apapa to go have a good time. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask some of these local governments and the local government that constitute the Lagos Senatorial, the Central Senatorial District for which you are vying for. And let's start with that of Apapa local government. I have a few things to read about the Apapa local government. It says it's a southward geopolitical enclave of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Apapa is a critical area in the economy of Lagos State and in Nigeria generally, with the presence of two ports, which are the Apapa Port and the Tinkan Island Port, which witnesses the movement of containers and bulk cargo. In the economic aspect, Apapa local government area is economically indispensable to the state of Lagos and the ports and clearing companies, with the presence of companies, multinationals. Currently, if we look at Apapa, there is still very, very obvious fiscally that there are lots of work that needs to be done there. So what are you going to do?
Apapa used to be a GRA. It was a place that was crawling with expatriates. If you go to Apapa now, it's a shadow of what it used to be. We don't want to, for sake of, it's almost like a slum. That's not what Apapa used to be. And for a place that generates so much revenue, why we allow it to go down the drain like that? So you don't need to be a genius to know that there's a lot that needs to be done in Apapa. Apapa seems to have been neglected both by the federal government and the state government, and I don't understand why. Apapa used to be a GRA. It's called Apapa GRA. So without a doubt, there's a lot that we need to pay more attention to Apapa and bring it back to the old glory. It's a port city. It doesn't need to be the way it is.
Okay, apart from just making that statement, because maybe your position, political party will be that, okay, you're just saying bring it to its former glory. What do you have any blueprint plans that you have set in motion if you were given the mandate to turn the situation around? Well,
as you know, our job is legislation. We are not indirect. We don't do projects. But we can legislate to ensure that we can make a law that ensure that governments, both federal and state governments, comply to ensure that areas that generate a certain amount of revenue for the government must be given special attention in terms of infrastructural development, infrastructural facilities, and the quality of life that the people there would live. So we can legislate. We legislators are not indirect. We can initiate a project through legislation, but we don't execute project directly.
Now, how do you make sure that happens? Yes, we know that the legislators do not implement projects; they enact laws, and sometimes, even in the past, there are situations where laws have been enacted, and probably the executive arm of government that is charged with the responsibility, either at the state or the federal level, have not come forth with the political will to do that. So, how would constitutionally, the legislature are saddled with oversight functions. How do you bring that to bear?
Also the legislatures, there's what is called constituency projects, which are projects initiated for the constituency by the legislature.
Yes.
But in my own, the way I would run it in any of the areas of my constituency is to initiate the project from the people, find out from the people what they want done. Okay, the government can't do everything you want, but the people will prioritize what they want. And I will take it up there and say, look, this is the people of Apapa, this is what they want. We need to have participatory democracy. The people need to be involved in decision making. Yes, I'm their legislator, but I will not take that decision for them. They have to be involved. So that way they know that their hopes and their aspirations from the government and from their representative is being taken into consideration.
You know, the politicians have come and gone. Yeah. And this statement of the people participatory democracy is going to be what we'll be doing. We're going to champion participatory democracy. We'll consult the people. But the people have on their own told us that they only see politicians when they come to vie for political offices. Immediately they are elected into political office, they forgot the promises they made to the people. They start having coteries and aides here and there. They cannot have access directly to these persons.
You know what the beauty of democracy is?
It should be said that you also fall into that category.
You know what the beauty of democracy is? Elections come every 4 years. If you send me there, I don't do what you want, you vote me out. Don't keep me there if I'm not doing, I'm not working, I'm not protecting your interest. You don't feel that you're part of government. I'm not responsive. I'm not engaging. Then you just vote me out. It's as simple as that. The power lies with the people. So don't keep me there if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Send me away.
Okay. Let's go to Etiosa local government because I want to see that we maximize our time very well so we can cover all the 5 local government areas that constitute the Lagos State Central Senatorial District. Etiosa local government area is one of the 20 local government areas in Lagos in southwestern Nigeria. Etiosa local government consists of 3 local council development areas, which are Ikoyi, Obalende, Etiosa East, and Iru, Victoria Island, Lagos, or local council development areas. It is in an urban area of Lagos State and houses the affluent of the society with the choice real estate properties scattered all over the local government. The population was mentioned that is over 300,000 and the popular languages were spoken, we're told, and popular district and streets in the place. And in terms of business outfits, we're told clubs, relaxation spots, offices, and business outfits. Come to look at it. The party in power at the moment, All Progressives Congress, since they've been in that position, it has been said that you cannot completely rule out the work that they have put in place to make sure that this senatorial district is alive and well. What would you do differently? Maybe we should narrow that question down to Etiosa local government.
I don't understand when they say they've done so much. I live in Etiosa, there's no water. Water is basic. A government is unable to provide water. And we're talking of development, mega city. Water is basic. There's no water in Etiosa local government. There's no water in Ikoyi VI. There's no water. So what are they talking about? What are they talking about? When it rains, the whole place is flooded. People's houses are filled with water. No, you see, we shouldn't believe everything we hear from politicians. We should not. We should try and find out from those who live there and find out what exactly is going on here. because it's a very good tool. We have all this. We've come from vision, scape, mega city, smart city. There's always a new acronym to caveat, but it's like a fugazi. It's in the air. When you go on ground, you don't see nothing. So I don't believe that.
Okay, we are due for a break, but before I go on that break, I want to ask you one pertinent question of which you have equally made reference to. But before that, let me tell our listeners from home, the phone lines are open. And we are talking about Lagos State Central Senatorial District. If that's where you are from, maybe you should call into the program and ask the politician who's vying for that political post in the Senate. And the lines to call is 0700 1021 1021. I take that again, 0700 1021 1021. You can send in WhatsApp messages on 0907 224 5018. We are live on YouTube at impact 102.1 FM. We are also live on Twitter at impact 102.1 FM. It's on record where every word matters. Now, in Lekki, there's this thing about flood coming every year.
Yeah.
Yes, in Lagos Island. If you were given the mandate today, can you do anything different? Because it has been said that problem is a root problem, fundamental problem that will take capital-intensive project to solve.
Well, like I said, I'm in legislation,
Yes.
so we are not in direct control of project. But I'll tell you one thing. If you look at Ethiopia local government, there's a rapid growth, urbanization.
Yes.
And you find out that when the government wants to free up land for development, there are always people living in the shanties. They burn them down, they go in there with police, guns and everything and render them homeless. I do not believe that the government has a right to render any citizen of this country homeless. I believe that we can have legislation that will ensure that if you are going to clear land for development, even if people are living there in shanties, it's the duty of the government to provide alternative accommodation.
Okay.
It's a sign of just respect, human dignity. Urbanization is supposed to bring succor, relief, not cause people pain. So these are some of the bills that I think that I would be going there to when I get there, I'll be championing. And I also feel that we need to look at what is defined citizenship in Nigeria. What does it mean to be a Nigerian citizen? What are the benefits? What's the government's responsibility towards an individual as a Nigerian citizen? If a child is born into this country today as a Nigerian child, what are the benefits and rights that child? The government has a responsibility to that child, and citizenship must be level across. It doesn't depend on wherever you come from. You're a citizen of Nigeria, and you all have the same rights. These are some of the things that we need to champion, which nobody seems to be talking about.
Okay. I'm still having a conversation with architect Abiodun Abubakar Dabiri, who is the candidate for Labour Party vying for the Senate, the Lagos State Central Senatorial District for that position. We're going to break. It's on record where every word matters. When we return from that break, we shall continue our discussion in the line of other local government areas that make up that constituency, and we'll be expecting your calls and your messages. To stay with us.
Beyond the everyday conversations, away from the noise and rumors, despite the trends, every word counts, and it stays on record. Every weekday, 9 a.m. on your urban lifestyle station, High Impact 102.1 FM. Call us 0700 1021 1021. WhatsApp 0907 224 5018.
We don't set the standards. We are the standard. The frequency is 102.1.
On record.
Every word matters.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the program. The lines to call 0700 1021 1021. I take that again. The lines to call 0700 1021 1021. You can send in messages on 0907 224 5018. On WhatsApp, we're live on Twitter at High Impact 1021 FM. We're also live on YouTube at High Impact 102.1 FM. It's on record where every word matters. I'm still having a conversation with Abiodun Abubakar Dabiri, who is the Labour Party candidate for Lagos Central Senatorial District for the 2023 general elections. Before we went on that break, we concluded a conversation on the Etiosa local government area. Now let's look at the Lagos Island local government area. Within that same constituency, the local government is an urban and cosmopolitan area and hosts members of diverse ethnic affiliations, a variety of religious people there. Notable landmarks in Lagos Island include the very serene Tinubu Square and imposing headquarters of one of the commercial banks there in Marina, while important festivals are held there. What is there anything different? Economic perspective, social perspective that needs to, be corrected on and needs to be improved on that you intend to bring to bear?
Well, you said very serene Tinubu Square when you were talking,
Yes.
and I smiled. Tinubu Square is far from serene. What occurs in Lagos Island is also a bit similar to Apapa.
Okay.
Yes, we can see that the government, Lagos State government, in terms of roads, they've tried to upgrade the infrastructure, the road infrastructure. But I think that apart from doing road infrastructure, there's a lot that needs to be done there to make sure that.
Just a moment, please. We have a call. Good morning and welcome to On Record. Your name and where you're calling us, please.
Good morning. My name is Femi. I'm calling from Apapa.
Oh, please go on.
I'd just like to say something to our contestants. So first off, I don't think you've convinced me enough to end my vote, because the moderator asked, like, what do you want to do? And you said, like, it's the will of the people. If it is the will of the people, then why are you there? Well, left to the will of the people, everybody wants to drive on one way. Left to the will of the people, people don't want to pay for car insurance. Everybody just wants to drive their car. Left to the will of the people, people want to enter a bank and take money. Everybody wants to do whatever they want. And that's why we have democracy. That's why we elect some people to actually think of what is best. That's why we have police. That's why we have lawyers. So if they ask, what would you advise the government concerning Papa? I'm an engineer of Papa. What would you advise the government to? What are your plans? You don't just say, the will of the people.
Okay.
Left to the people, which everybody wants to do whatever they want.
Okay.
So what would you do to solve the traffic, the grill law? What are the things that you do that will make a drastic change?
Okay,
in
Femi.
the next 4 years.
Okay, Femi, thank you very much. Yeah, Femi, thank you very much. He's going to respond to your question now, so please keep on listening.
Thank you, Femi, for that question. But I think you misconstrued my statement. Now, when I say it's the will of the people, it's not a blanket. It's not a blank check. Basically, what I'm saying is that there are certain things that Apapa needs. We need to deal with the traffic gridlock. We need to improve the infrastructure. We need to improve the security architecture. In some areas of Apapa, water is not available. So there's a lot of things that needs to be done in Apapa. But in terms of prioritizing, which do we do first? How do we go? We would involve the people of Apapa. That's the point I'm trying to make. And also the needs will vary from one area to another. If you go to people like Ijora, Badia, Sari, what they require may be different from what the people in Airways or Park Lane or Tinkan, what they would want. So when I say we will involve them, is that we will prioritize in terms of which one is the government going to do first. That's what I meant. I didn't mean that we'll just ask. I didn't have a clear idea of what needs to be done, but we need to engage with the people also to understand and feel their pulse. And say, okay, these are the things that are wrong with your area. Which would you like us to tackle first? That was what I meant.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, I need you to continue with your line of thought where we're talking about Lagos Island local government area, where you were saying that what needs to be done is
yes, you see, Lagos Island generates a whole lot of revenue. It's a commercial hub, and it's a market. The whole of Lagos Island is a marketplace. It's more a marketplace than a residential. So for an area that generates that kind amount of money, I believe that the government should take that into consideration and provide the relevant, the kind of infrastructure that would boost what is going on there, and ensure that, I mean, it's more comfortable for people to come there and shop. It's more comfortable for people to stay there and do their business. It's more comfortable for people to come in and come out in terms of transportation infrastructure that would now support the business that is done there. You know, there's a lot of transactions done there on a daily basis.
Okay, now, there's this thing that is very, very important, which is very critical, the presence of Apapa local government area. When we're talking about trailers on the road, you see a long, if there's a particular word for it, anacondic traffic or lining up of trailers from Apapa Port down to the bridge, coming to Marine Beach, then goes straight to Jorabadia on top of the bridge, down, sometimes it even almost close to Western Avenue, and even to the Surulere area where we have the National Stadium. We see those. Why, if you get in there, what can you do profile to that problem?
You see, I think that Apapa Port is one of the only ports in the world where you move cargo out by trailers. Most ports have rail systems attached to them, so you don't see the trailers because there's a rail system. Ports are planned around a rail system that will move the cargo out. The volume of cargo coming into our Apapa ports cannot be moved by trailers. You would always have the gridlock that you have. But I must say, because we shouldn't always condemn, I have been to Apapa recently, and though it's not perfect, the traffic is greatly reduced. Because there was a time you couldn't even try going to Apapa. Do you understand? But now the traffic is greatly reduced. But I still believe that in terms of infrastructural development, ports are planned around a rail system to move out the cargo.
Okay. Now, we have a message here, but before I take the message, there's another question connected to this that I want to ask. When we're talking about a rail system that is built around ports, recently the federal government and the Lagos state government came to Lagos to inaugurate the Blue Line rail trail, even though that is not in Apapa. If you look at that, it's a capital intensive project that cannot be done in a year or two, if we look at that. So is there any other measure that can be taken to ameliorate this traffic issue down at Apapa ports?
Well, I'll start by saying that because this rail system has taken close to 13 years, doesn't mean that that's how it works. There's a rail system, I think, if I'm correct, somewhere in the east coast of Africa that is longer and better in terms of the gauge. Is better and was built with a fraction of what we're spending. So the Blue Rain need not have taken this long. It need not have taken this long. You can, I mean, if you look at the Chinese are doing tremendous things. The Chinese, they'll build that rail in less than that time.
Okay. We have a message here. It reads that your guest talked about provision of water in his constituency. Water provision is the function of state water corporations. How does he want to influence a change in that area? What does he think is missing in the area of senatorial representation of that constituency that he wants to provide? Ola from Ogun State.
Thank you, Ola, for that question. I always start by saying that what we're doing, I'm in the legislative arm of government, and cannot influence projects directly.
That's when you are elected, or if you are elected.
But I mean, there's also what is called relationship.
Okay.
Relationship with government agencies, relationship with state executives and stuff like that, which you can also use to influence things. Without a doubt, if I get there, I will be in a position of influence. But also, there can be legislation that is made at that level that compels the government of states must provide certain basic infrastructure. And if these laws do exist, do you understand? Then we can also look at enforcement. How do we ensure that they do what they are supposed to do? You know. So this is the work of the legislation. So when I talked about water, I was basically just trying to make a point that in terms of providing for the people, some of these things have not been provided. But you can now have legislation that would compel the government to provide these services.
Okay. Let's move to another local government area, and that's the Lagos mainland. I don't think we've touched that.
No.
After that, we are going to go to Surulere local government area. The Lagos mainland local government, its estimated population of Lagos mainland is about 479,842 inhabitants, with the area hosting members of diverse ethnic affiliations. The landmarks in Lagos mainland local government area include the Yaba College of Technology, the West African Examination Council national headquarters. Then if we look at the economic strength or the economic poise of that area, the Lagos mainland local government area is home to several hotels, parks, schools, religious institutions, banks, as well as several private and public-owned institutions. Trade also flourishes in the area, with the local government hosting several markets where a plethora of communities are bought and sold. Other important businesses in the Lagos mainland include transport, craft making, and catering. What if given the mandate, what will your administration do? What kind of policies will it influence to not just only boost the commercial activities? Let's talk about a particular area that most governments have not really looked at. You have factories scattered across several states, and since we are talking about Lagos, including Lagos State, and some of these factories fall within these areas. We have reports that sometimes Nigerians, Lagosians who work in these factories sustain injuries that sometimes you report their hands or legs are being chopped off while working in those factories. And because there is none to push the argument, those particular companies retrench those workers because they have become incapacitated to carry out the basic functions in those factories. So they lose their economic strength without being given the appropriate remuneration or compensation. If you are voted into office, how will you deal with this sort of issue?
Without a doubt, there are a lot of legislation and laws that need to be made that directly impact on the life of Nigerian citizens and protect their interest. I am sure that what you have stated, there are laws already protecting Nigerian workers, but what will be happening is that implementation, do you understand, and ensuring that these things are put in place and making it easy for people who fall into this kind of thing to actually come out and go to the right organization that will come and protect their interests. You know, we have a habit of leaving things to God, you know, but I believe that there are certain things that are not left to God. I always say that, look, people say the system is not working, but have you tested the system? We need to continue to test our system. Not only will it work, it will get better. So anybody that falls into this kind of category must reach the appropriate government authorities. That's why government is trying to do now. You have Nigeria Online, where if you can actually access any of the agencies that has to do with the problem that you have. So if you have all those kind of things, then it's easier for people to get the relief that they seek. But most times you find that people are not aware that this organization exists, and they feel that they just find themselves in a hopeless situation. So it's the duty of the government. I would ensure that we have legislation that compel government agencies to let people know of their existence and the value they bring. Okay. I give you another example. A problem that has been lingering with a lot of people is the issue of estimated billing.
Okay.
It's a pain. I have personally experienced estimated billing. I used to pay 80,000. Minute I was able to get a meter after so much stress, I was paying 20,000, 25,000. So estimated billing is killing our people and making their life difficult. These are the kind of legislation these are the low-hanging fruits that once I get it, I must make sure that, look, we need to have a legislation that protects people. The law is there. The law is there that says that you're not allowed to even disconnect somebody if you are having a dispute on the bill.
Yes.
The last bill you paid without any dispute, you continue paying it until the dispute is resolved.
Okay.
But the discos don't do that. They'll disconnect you, and they're not even allowed to disconnect. So, information is key. Letting the information out there to our people, ensuring that they know that there are laws and organizations that can protect you against this thing that you can have access to.
Okay. There's something else I will need to say, because even while you put it to the citizens that they have the responsibility to be aware by virtue of information on the government agencies that are responsible to tackle these issues.
No, I also said the government agencies they must publicize. They must let people know.
I was going to ask you, as a politician, if you're vying for the position for which you're vying at the moment now, there should be some level of connection with the people at the ebb of society, because these are the people that have the mandate to vote. The connection in the sense that even when they felt cheated, or it seems that they felt cheated by a system or by a company or an institution, if they do not have the information of a government agency that's responsible for that, they should have...
they can reach out to their legislators.
How do they reach out to their legislators?
Phone numbers. My phone number is going to be available.
Okay, what about... let's not even talk about phone number. Well, let's even talk about the offices of those who are vying for those positions, the social media handles on how to report these issues.
The law says that you must have constituency office.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
So the constituency office will be there and run very well and accessible to everyone in that constituency. They must reach out. I think that, when I first spoke, I was talking about participatory democracy will build and strengthen our democracy. Now, people feel disconnected from their legislators. But people like me are coming in to ensure that we can correct that. And the minute we correct that, we have constituency offices, people feel confident enough to walk in there and say, look, I want to see the legislator, or I have a letter for him, or something. Once we begin to do that, things will start to change. We don't have that now. That's the honest truth. The constituency offices, if they are there, they are not made to interact. So, but if you look at it, we have the quality of people who are coming to vie for public office is changing gradually, and will continue to change. And the minute you get the right kind of people like me coming in and putting certain things in place, it becomes a culture.
Okay. Now you are still listening you're still listening and watching if you're on social media, on record, where every word matters. Our conversation has been with Abiodun Abubakar Dabiri, who is the member of a Labour Party, the candidate, I beg your pardon, of Labour Party contesting for the Lagos Central Senatorial District for the 2023 elections. And you can call in and ask questions. You can send in WhatsApp messages. You can call in by dialing 0700 1021 1021. I take that again, 0700 1021 1021. You can send in WhatsApp messages on 0907 224 5018, 0907 224 5018. It's on record where every word matters. Now, briefly, let's go on a break. And when we are back, we will be taking a look at Surulere local government and what Mr. Dabiri intends to do if given the mandate. It's on record where every word matters. In a moment, we'll be right back.
If it's public opinion, expert analysis, information that matters to you, we have it on record Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. on High Impact 102.1 FM. Call us 0700-1021-1021. WhatsApp 0907-224-5018.
The best music, the best people, the best talk on High Impact 102.1 FM. Watimagbo.
On record.
Every word matters.
Welcome back and many thanks for joining us. The numbers to call 0700 1021 1021. I take that again. 0700 1021 1021. You can send in WhatsApp messages on 0907 224 5018. It's on record where every word matters. My conversation has been with Abiodun Abubakar Dabiri, who is the Labour Party candidate for Lagos Central Senatorial District for the 2023 elections. We are live on Twitter at High Impact 102.1 FM. We're also live on YouTube at High Impact 102.1 FM. Now, let's go on to discuss the last local government area, which is the Surulere local government area. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest. The current estimated population of Surulere local government area is, okay, we have a call. Okay, good morning and welcome to On Record. Your name and where you're calling us from, please. Okay, we lost that call. Let's go on. It's about 645,713 inhabitants, with the local government hosting members of several ethnic groups. And it went forth to say that notable landmarks in Surulere local government include the National Sports Stadium, Lagos, the Teslim Balogun Stadium, and the National Arts Theatre. Economic poise of the local government says it's an ultra-cosmopolitan area of Lagos City and hosts several financial institutions, hotels, relaxation spots, eateries, schools, as well as government-owned enterprise, with all these contributing to the economy of the local government area. The area is also a vibrant trade sector and center and hosts a number of markets such as the Teju Osho and Idiaraba markets, which provide platforms for the exchange of a variety of goods and services. Now let's talk about sports, youth empowerment, youth development in that particular local government, Surulere, since it outs the national stadium. What, if given the mandate, your plan for sports and for youth in that area, or generally? Yes.
I always try to bring us back to ensure that our job is legislation.
Yes, I know.
So we can only attack problems from a legislative angle.
Yes.
And also, sport development we also have to do with the policy of the government. But I can tell you for free that the Labour Party in itself, you understand, is geared towards youth empowerment. I mean, our presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, says that I want to take Nigeria from consumption to production. Now, what that basically means that he is going to provide the enabling environment for young people and entrepreneurs to thrive. So this will also include development in sports. We need to keep our youth engaged. Sports itself has gone beyond recreation now. Sports it's a profession. Sports itself is a profession. Surulere is like a sports hub of Lagos, the sports center of Lagos. In fact, Surulere is called Sports City. I don't know if you know that. They call it Sports City. You understand? Because of all these facilities are situated around there.
Yes.
But if you go to the stadium, you see people training outside. You understand? And for me, it doesn't make any sense. These are some of the things that we can attack through policy, through legislation.
Okay.
You understand? That how there's a stadium there is not utilized and people are training on the road, on the street, on the pavement, on the sidewalk. That shouldn't be. That shouldn't be. People should be able to have access to these facilities. These facilities are upgraded and put in tip-top conditions. You can even charge a token for people to have access. Way back, people used to allow people going. In fact, the stadium became more like a pepper soup joint. You know, people just go there to drink pepper soup and listen to music. There wasn't sporting activity going on. So government has invested heavily in providing infrastructure. Okay. It doesn't need to lie dormant when we have a whole generation of youth just lying idle, which can actually go in, be compelled, give incentive for them to be sportsmen, and from there, become athletes, and possibly even bring in money, foreign exchange. If you're a professional athlete, you're going to earn your earnings. Your earnings will come in dollars, and you bring it back into the country. So there's a lot to be done in terms of sport development.
Yes, we are almost done with our conversation, but I need you to answer two questions in one. Okay. The first one is, we're not just talking about youth participation in sports too. We're looking at a very, very critical areas touching information technology, IT, which is where the strength of the youth life. But secondly, I'll need you to address the areas where is there a collaboration, a work, irrespective of party differences within senators, if you are elected as a senator of that constituency, and if an opposition party is elected to also represent at the state level, the House of Assembly, the same constituency. What collaboration effort would you forge to make sure these policies are given flesh?
As you know, my party has come into the political space with a new kind of politics. Differences along party lines end after the election. We must come together and work for the development of the people, regardless of what party we belong to. That's the kind of politics that I'm going to play.
Okay. All right. That's where we draw the curtain this morning. On record, my conversation had been with Abiodun Abubakar Dabiri. He is the Labour Party candidate for Lagos State Central Senatorial District. It has been an interesting moment having this conversation with you.
Thank you very much.
All right. It's on record where every word matters. If we are unable to take your messages today, you can send them to the line. We will continue with our conversation, but not on this topic of discussion we had today, but with another episode of On Record where every word matters. My name is Oyin Priye Krumale. Good morning and many thanks for listening.
Beyond the everyday conversations, away from the noise and rumors, despite the trends, every word counts, and it stays on record. Every weekday, 9 a.m. on your urban lifestyle station, High Impact 102.1 FM. Call us 0700 1021 1021. WhatsApp 0907 224 5018. In case you don't